You are a music artist and you want to make it big. You want the money, the fame, the women or men you desire, and you want to be happy. But there's a problem. Nobody listens to your music. Maybe you got some streams, maybe you got some followers, but things just don't seem to be going the way you want them to. So you start thinking about doing some live shows. Not just thinking, you actually go out and do it. If you are lucky, your music is good enough, you will get more followers, more listeners, more streams, more views, more everything. And so you grind, make more music, play more shows, until you decide to contact some labels. The time to make it big is now. The label looks at your following count, your streams, your views, and if you are big enough already, they sign you. Now you will play more live shows, you will get to make more records, work with some people you admire, maybe move to a bigger city, and so it goes on. You might think that this is success. Yes, you got the money, you got the hoes, you got the fame. Then you start to feel empty. You got everything you wanted. What now? You keep doing the same routine. Album, live show, repeat forever. And suddenly you start to get tired. You start to feel a disconnection. You might turn to drugs to keep the momentum going, and when you realize, bam, you are addicted. You pretend like nothing's happening and keep going and going and going until you can't do it anymore. It is at this point that some, unfortunately, suffer from overdose or commit suicide. They just can't take it anymore. What was once their dream became their nightmare. They feel stuck and feel their energy and their spark gone. Others will have public meltdowns, go to rehab, take a break to get their life together again, apologize, and then back to the grinder. You need to produce more hits. You need to keep up with the trends. You need to be aware of the impending doom of AI generated music. Stop. Oh my god, please not that. The computers are going to take away your job. So, you file lawsuits, you appeal to the Senate, you try and persuade people that AI music sucks. But in the end, the computers take over your livelihood. The industry collapses. There are no more jobs, no more opportunities. People now make playlists out of songs they told an app to create, based on their preferences and mood. They share it with their friends. The charts are now comprised of top hits made exclusively with AI. What do you do now? Suddenly, making music for teenagers and all the young people of the world doesn't cut it anymore. You kept on making music, but nobody cares anymore. All your career you kept up with trends, so not even the older generations appreciate your work anymore. You can't keep up. You are out of a job and nobody remembers you or your music anymore. If you are lucky, this will only happen when you're ready to retire. But what if that's not the case? You got no savings, the record companies all went extinct. People only go to live shows to take drugs and listen to this conglomerate of artificial sounds and voices, and you got nothing else to turn to. In your despair and loneliness, you succumb and quit for good. But then, one day, you are browsing through some old music, some real music, and you hear a distant echo from the past. What's this? A soothing melody enters your ears. Something meaningful, yet so natural, so effortless. You were conditioned all this time to make and listen to songs that are predictable and short, that sound like all the other songs around, but no, this is something else. You listen and you let yourself go. The song continues past the 5-minute mark and continues and evolves swelling with emotion that can change in a blink or, at times, softly and calmly. You are transported and transfixed. The time goes by 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then it ends. You feel gobsmacked. How could they do this with so limited resources? How could this old music be so much more substantial in emotion than more modern and contemporary songs? And then you get an idea. What if you fused this form of composition and these ancient instruments with modern sounds and production? What if you blended all of this and turned that sound design game of yours up a notch? What will this concoction sound like? You have no career anyways, so you might at least try. And so you dive in and start experimenting. This is the answer for the future of music. As AI develops, there will come a point where most of the songs in the mainstream will be made with simple prompts. People will no longer need musical personas to idolize and admire, and your craft that took you years to learn will be rendered useless, unless you start making music that AI cannot make. The answer is true composition. This is a composition technique where music is continuous, non-sectional, and non-repetitive. The song evolves and changes according to the mood and emotions you are trying to convey. It can be a long composition or it can't be short. Doesn't matter. What matters is that it evolves and changes over time. And it doesn't need to be instrumental only. Look at Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, for example. Could AI make that? Never in a billion years. What is great in our modern age is that we can also blend multiple genres in the same song, according to what emotions that genre elicits. For this, you'll need to be very original and have some foundation on what each genre's strengths are. You should be listening to multiple music genres if you're not already. Remember, this is about creating meaningful and impactful music that will last for ages, that will become your legacy and serve as inspiration for future generations. This is not about making it big or becoming rich and famous, at least not for now. This is about creating deep and meaningful work. You, as an artist, have the obligation to have a mission, to evolve your craft, to create deeper and deeper work. As a musician, your work is to make people feel emotions. Take them on a journey through pain, grief, relief, longing, happiness, hopefulness, etc. In one composition, you can take the listener through a myriad of emotions and feelings. Use all the freedom of modern technology to achieve your highest creative potential. But first, let's be honest. None of us are at the level of the great masters. The compositions of Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, Bach, Shostakovich, Stravinsky, just to name a few, will be remembered forever because they are transformative works. They are deep, complex, and meaningful. This is a message for those musicians who only compose when they are inspired or when they want to put their emotions out there. The great masters worked on their talent and studied music theory. Of course, there's no denying they were geniuses, but they knew the foundations of music. They knew how to elicit specific emotions through their compositions. They knew, for example, how and why certain chord changes work, how certain key changes elicit surprise on the listener. They knew how to take you there, to that magical place of wonder. Nobody cares about your 4-chord guitar song, or your rap beats, or your electronic dance track. You can make them sound as good and professional as you can, but at the end it all comes down to luck, the people you know, and where you are located. If you are like me and live in a country that doesn't really have music industry, or you aren't good at interpersonal relations and don't have the opportunity to move abroad, you should reevaluate your goals. If you really love making music, you should create music that has some sort of impact, that is different in some way, that explores and deconstructs genre norms. You need to stop pandering to people with short syndrome. They are not your target audience. You need to find people that appreciate long form content, people who love to listen to albums from beginning to end. Yes, they do exist. Take, for example, movies. You have your simple, entertaining, and fun movies that you can watch anytime, and they don't really touch on deep topics. But then there is film, movies that are usually slower and require longer attention span. These films have many forms and they do exist and have existed for a long time. There is an audience for both of them. And between the two, guess what will be remembered in the future? The simple and entertaining or the deep and transformative? The answer is obvious. These films often influence the more accessible and mainstream ones, like what happened with the French art house cinema. Why are most music producers stuck on simple structures and only make predictable and interesting and vapid music? Because they are all chasing the honeypot. Perhaps they themselves have never listened or appreciated transformative music. They might think it is a thing of the past, but I'm here to say that people want, always wanted, and will always want to be deeply moved by art. People like to be challenged. They like to lose themselves in a work of art. Can you really call most of the music in the world as transformative? No. Approximately 100,000 songs are uploaded daily to Spotify. If everybody's shouting in a public plaza, nobody is going to be heard. You have no other option than to be in this plaza, but you've got to do something different in order to gain attention. Success isn't always measured by views and followers or the amount of money you have in your bank account. Trust me, if you make truly profound and moving work, you will get followers. You will get the attention you seek. But it might be less than you envisioned, and it might take more time. You will also need to up your sales game. You will need to be good at selling your work. The followers you will get will be people with a greater passion for art, and they are people with more complex worldviews and life experiences. These are the people you want to market your music to. Stop pandering to teens and young adults. Yes, they are the majority of music listeners, but adults also like to listen to music. But as they get older, those simple love and party songs don't appeal to them anymore. So tackle other themes, tackle greater issues. If you are going to write about emotions, do it so poetically and metaphorically. People love to interpret lyrics and find meaning in things that sometimes are vague or symbolic. Creating music is not just about self expression. When creating deep work, you need to take the listener in consideration. Don't waste everybody's time with your immature and self centered reality. What are you offering to the listener? What kind of experience do you want the listener to have? You need to start from the basis that the listener has the required attention span and is actively listening and open to be transported for a few minutes or an hour to another place. Create concept albums, mix genres. Do whatever you can to elicit emotion, but make it interesting. Don't bore the listener. You should be practicing your craft. Focus on evoking emotions in the listener. Create suspense, surprises, fear, happiness, etc. All emotions can be touched through the power of music, and this is what people are looking for when they are actively listening to your work. Don't pander to those who put on playlists and have music as background noise. Don't pander to those with short attention spans. You are an artist, so act like one. Your goal should be to inspire, to innovate, to expand our notion of what music is and can be.
You can go and buy my new book, The Antigenre Manifesto, where I go into deeper detail about the topics discussed in this video. It's $5, it's on Amazon.